Welcome back to My Story As It Is, the place where real live stories unfold, one jaw-dropping truth at a time. If you're new here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I've known Jade for over 20 years. We met in college, we broke the rules together, skipped lectures, cried over breakups, drank cheap wine, and promised to always have each other's backs. And we meant it. She was the type of person who lit up every room, loud, funny, fiercely loyal. She used to call me every day, even just to complain about traffic or what was on sale at our favourite store. But then she met Marcus, and it all changed. The first thing that went silent was her laughter, then her phone calls, then her social media. "I've just been busy," she told me the first time I confronted her. "Marcus likes his privacy." Privacy? Jade used to live stream baking cookies at 2 a.m. It got worse. I'd call, and she wouldn't answer. I'd text, and the message would sit there, unread. Then, one morning, I got through. It wasn't Jade who answered. It was her 4-year-old son. "Hi, sweetheart," I said softly. "Is Mummy there?" I could hear shouting in the background. Something slammed, then silence, then a scream. Not a child's scream, a woman. "She was crying," he whispered. Daddy's making her cry again." I froze, and then the phone line went dead, like someone had cut it off purposely. I frantically tried to call back multiple times, but it went straight to voicemail. I stared at my screen, hoping it would ring. It didn't, not until 7 hours later. She called around midnight, her voice tight, robotic. "Oh, that!" She laughed awkwardly. "Marcus just had a little shouting match with the neighbours. You know how paper-thin these flats are?" No, I didn't know, because I'd been to her flat, and the walls were concrete. "Are you okay?" I pressed. "I'm fine," she said, too quickly. That's when I knew I couldn't let this go. I arranged to meet her for dinner, just us. She cancelled an hour before, no apology, just, "Can't make it, something came up." It was the 6th time in 6 months. I tried again. This time I invited our whole friend group. Strength in numbers, I thought. Maybe she'd feel safer. She came. She wore long sleeves in July. It was 35 degrees, sat with her back against the wall, jumped every time someone dropped a glass. We tried to keep the mood light, ordered cocktails, laughed about old times. Then her phone rang. She looked at the screen, went pale and mumbled, "Sorry, it's my sitter," and rushed outside. 15 minutes passed, then 20. I went after her. I found her outside, crouched against the wall, sobbing. Her makeup was streaked, her shoulders trembling. "What happened?" I asked. She looked up at me. "It's my son," she whispered. "He's sick, high fever. They're taking him to hospital." We rallied around her, cancelled our plans, offered lifts, cash, babysitting, anything. But the entire time, her hands were shaking in a way that had nothing to do with illness and everything to do with fear. Subscribe, if you're still with me, because we're just getting to the part where everything unravels. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I stayed up half the night, looking at photos of her before Marcus, after Marcus, the change in her eyes, the way her body language shifted from confident to curled inward. I remembered the first time I met Marcus, I'd invited them for dinner at my place, just to celebrate her new relationship. Jade looked radiant, like she was floating. But something happened during dinner. We joked about his fashion sense. Harmless stuff. Jade used to be the queen of banter, but Marcus? He didn't smile. Instead, he slid his hand under the table. Jade flinched. Her face twisted for half a second, barely long enough for anyone to notice, but I did. I knew what that kind of pain looked like, that controlled reaction, like she'd been trained to stay silent. He was squeezing her, hard. A few weeks later, I invited her on holiday with my family 2 weeks away in the sun. I wanted her out of that flat, away from him. She hesitated, then she said, "I'll ask Marcus if he's up for it." Ask Marcus. I was hoping to go without Marcus, to give her some time to breathe. She said yes. We would love to come. I demanded the money up front. I didn't want her finding any excuse to back out. When we arrived at the resort, things seemed normal. She smiled for photos. Her son giggled in the pool. But then, things started to happen. She'd disappear, skip meals, stay locked in her room all day. When I asked, Marcus would say she was working, that she brought her laptop, she had deadlines. One night she showed up to dinner, full face of makeup, hair perfect, but beneath the concealer, I saw it. Swelling, a hint of purple just under her eye. She sat beside me, spoke softly, ate nothing. When I tried to talk to her alone, Marcus appeared like smoke, always interrupting, always listening. My son played with her son every day. One afternoon I pulled him aside. "I missed your mummy. How is she?" "Daddy is mean to mummy," he whispered. "He says his daddy makes mummy cry in the shower." That night I couldn't sleep. I knew I had to do something. On the 10th day of our trip, she didn't come down for breakfast. Marcus said she had early meetings, again. But her son? He wouldn't speak, wouldn't look up from his plate. His body language said it all. So I made a decision. I called the local police, anonymous tip. I told them everything, the bruises, the isolation, the way she never left her room, her son's whispers. The officers arrived within an hour. They knocked on her hotel room door. She didn't answer. The hotel manager used a key. What they found broke my heart. Jade was on the floor, in her nightdress, arms over her head, shivering. Her body was black and blue. When the officers said her name, she looked up and cried the kind of cry you cry when you realise you're not alone anymore. They carried her out gently. She didn't protest. Marcus tried to act confused, angry, said she had a condition. But the bruises spoke louder than his lies. She confessed everything, the emotional control, the finances, the fear, the bruises on her back, the time he locked her outside in the cold because she talked back. And the worst part, how her son had started apologising for her, saying, "I'll be better, Daddy." She left the country with support services a week later. She's free now. She calls me every morning again, just like before, except now her laugh is real. To anyone watching, if you think someone you love is in trouble, do not stay silent. It only takes one voice, one call, one person brave enough to say, "I see you." If you ever feel alone in your darkness, remember this. There's always someone ready to switch on the light. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more powerful life stories. This is my story as it is. If you like, you can send me your story.